How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel. Let's get right into it because I'm about to check out of this hotel, get in my car, and drive from Pittsburgh to Chicago. We got to get a move on. We have a Should You Summon today. That's where I answer the question, Should You Summon? And it is referring to this weekend's special Invocation of Spirits and special Divine Summoning for Kai and for the real Lady of the Hour, Vierna. Vierna herself is a tremendous hero. She's not the best AoE mage in the game, but she is very good, and she synergizes with her faction very, very well. But most importantly, she brings the bond skill with Silas. Here you can see Pledge of Yore. This is the bond that Silas gives to her. It helps her. It's really nice. Adds some nice HP restoration. However, the bond she gives Silas is so far and away not just the best bond skill in the game. Why did they put the gallery there? It's so annoying. But definitely, just a little tangent. It's so annoying having the gallery there. Put it back on the bottom. But my god, not just the best bond skill in the game, Lost Love. What she does to Silas is the best skill in the game, full stop, end of everything. Silas, some people think Silas needs this to be amazing. That's so not true. I'd probably have Silas as like a top 10 hero, not including Lords, in the whole game without it. With it, he is so far and away numero uno. It is crazy, especially for late and endgame content. He busts it all wide open. He is good nearly everywhere. Getting this essentially allows him to get double hitters on everything during his ultimate, which is already maybe the strongest ultimate in the game. So a lot of people are going to be clamoring and dying to get Vierna this coming weekend, specifically for that purpose. So in this video, we'll very briefly break down Kai, and I'll get into why I really hate him. He's probably my least favorite legendary hero in the whole game, and why it's a big and very difficult decision to go for Vierna. I've done all the math based on very generous assumptions, actually, and it's still going to be really hard, and you're going to have to be very well prepared to have any decent shot at getting her. So without further ado, let's break this down, and let's answer that question, should you summon?
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Alrighty guys, so we've got this 15x rate up on our rare summoning crystals, the bluesies, and our legendary summoning crystals, the divines, the goldsies. Let's start with Kai. Let's be brief. Kai is an AoE damage dealing mage. He's got this thing called a worm snare, which can have some kind of like blow up damage. He shoots projectiles at it with his gigantic, very cool, I'll give him that, very cool looking crossbow. He's got this funky wing coming off his shoulder too. I didn't notice that until fairly recently. He also's got some immobilize that comes into the kit from the worm snare, not worm slam. A slam would be cooler than a snare, let's be honest. Basically a snare is a trap. He sets these funky little traps. They suck, the damage sucks, it's very hard to control. He's up there for the clunkiest kit, the clunkiest actual technique and function of what he does in the entire game, and the damage sucks. It really sucks. Some of you might be, well, Kai helped me with this. Cool. I've tried Unawakened, A0 Maul, an epic hero with no Lord, and he outperforms Kai everywhere I've tested. Literally everywhere. If you guys know somewhere that Kai is better than Maul, let me know. It doesn't exist. And certainly if you get an A5 Maul, that is then 17 costs instead of 22. He is just so far and away better. Maul brings better crowd control effects through amazing slow and amazing freeze. The damage is better. He's easier to build because he's easier to skill up, and there's no way on God's green earth, unless you're the whale of all whales, you'd fully skill up Kai. The guy sucks, all right? He sucks. I'm not even going to talk about Awakenings. I don't care about him. I really just hate Kai. He sucks. If someone wants to make a video and go really dive deep and try to prove me I'm wrong, do it. But no one's going to do that. Or at least this is my challenge to you. Kai sucks, not interested. Let's talk about Vierna. So we'll start with Vierna the hero, then we will move to what Vierna does for Silas, and then we're going to get into all the math. I've got it over here. I went into Excel, as you know I did. We'll break all that down. What are your chances actually to get her if you decide to pull? And maybe that will help you, decide one way or another if you're actually going to summon for her. So Vierna, we're not going to do a full kit breakdown. If you want that, I can make a Vierna guide. Let's talk about where she is good. Very good in Gear Aid 1. I wouldn't say she's elite in Gear Aid 1. She's one step below that. She's not on the level of like what Dahlia is going to be, and certainly not on the level of Boreas, who is still the best hero in the game by a mile for Gear Aid 1. She's also, I'd say, not even as good as Artemis. The DPS is probably as good, if not a nice chunk better, but when it's just the versatility, basically all she's doing is damage and damage over time, and that's kind of it. She does synergize really well in the faction, so she's like a solid S for Gear Raid 1. She can solo DPS it, but then again, like, so can Abizu, who's an epic, granted an epic lord, but she's not got the DPS at the level of Comet, though she can do a very good job, and she doesn't bring any other extra functionality like a Boreas or Dahlia, so on and so on. Very good for Gear Raid 1. Gear Raid 2, S+, incredible. Probably her and Hotsit, actually definitely, her and Hotsit are the easiest heroes to use in the game for clearing 219, 220, 221. Put them in the middle, she can solo DPS the whole thing. She's very easy to use, especially once you max skill her ultimate, Reaper's Grasp. Hotsit is the best because her build requirements are so low. You guys wouldn't believe, or if you've seen my takeovers, you would believe because you'd have seen it. Some of the builds you can get away with on Hotsit and clear 221. It's broken set, low crit damage, doesn't matter. Hotsit's crazy. Vierna needs a bit more love, but not that much, and she's really easy to use. You can do like Vierna, Autumn, Dolores, my Aloris strategy. Easy peasy. I've done it at least 50 times. She works like a charm. She is goated for Gear Raid 2. Gear Raid 3, she's okay. I mean, she's going to fall off a cliff starting with 19, 20, 21. You'll never use her, essentially. Up through 18, I've used her in takeovers. I know a lot of people use her. I'm not going to say she's bad at Gear Raid 3 because she's very functional through the first 3 because she can do big burst damage, and then she's got this execute function built into her kit. Very important, let me just take this time to say, if you get her, you have to skill this up at least to level 3, because that's going to raise the execution threshold to 35%, meaning if after this goes off, an enemy that she's facing has 35% or less HP, they will be executed. Doesn't matter what the hit is, they just delete. They disappear, right? A few heroes in the game have that skill. Very powerful. 35% is a lot more, happens a lot more often, and is a lot easier to achieve than 25%. So make sure you get that. If you want to invest in her, definitely skill ups. All her skill ups are actually pretty important. I'd say the two most important, definitely Soul Extraction. This is going to allow her to build a lot of attack. She has fairly low base attack at like 4,300. And then certainly you're going to, if you can, get that reduced skill costs on the ultimate, the reduced rage necessary, and the increased initial rage, especially for Gear Raid 2. The increased initial rage is nice. Not necessary, but nice. So Vierna, very, very cool hero. She's got Mortal Kiss over here that she inflicts through her basic attacks, and actually her basic attacks will scale with this if you choose to, for some reason, run her an Infernal Roar. If you were curious, because she places this through the basic attacks. Essentially, it's like a burn. It's like a damage over time thing. It does last 8 seconds, which is really nice. And it can scale really well, you know, as you build up the soul extractions when she's doing a lot of DPS by herself, getting a lot of kills, maxing this out. Very nice. I will also say her exclusive artifact is tremendous because it allows her to keep all her souls, so you can kind of keep the soul extraction maxed out. A base promo exclusive artifact for Vierna is going to exceed a Tear of Twilight from my testing. It is supremely, supremely strong, especially if you can get a couple promos into it. All in all, you can see she's a good hero. Let's talk about more endgame content. For Gear Dungeon 1, aka what I call Gear Raid 4, she is amazing, S+. She's not the very best in the game. She's not there with like Demi and Valk and Thalon. But she's right there with Comet for me. Especially if you're going to run her on the bottom with tank strats and some anti-healing, which is something you would be very likely to do if you've got a decent cultist team. She's crazy. Like a Vierna and a Demi, which would be a great duo. Them on the bottom, the gearing requirement for that is like nothing. I've done it many times. It is so freaking strong. She's tremendous. I love her for Gear Raid 4. Yeah, she's not like busting the whole game wide open like a Valk or a Thalon or a Demi, but she's just one notch below that. I'd probably put those guys at like triple S. They're so good for it. She's still S+ for Gear Raid 4. Amazing. Gear Raid 5, basically useless. AoE damage, not really good. No real execution necessary. You're going to need, in general, more physical damage there, even though obviously there's some magic damage you need, but the kind of superstar magic damage you need really needs to be single target or like crazy built Twin Fiend, or more likely like Soul Cadence if you're not going to go for a conventional Nocturne or Hex, whatever. I'm getting on a tangent there. Now, if we're talking codex, there's really no codex you're going to use her. Mortal Kiss does count as damage over time. It counts as a dot, so you can use her for Arbiter of Frost. From the little testing I did, and then the testing I've heard about that other people have done, not good. Not a good choice. It's not enough. It's not consistent enough. It's not worthy. If anyone has proven that to not be the case, I would love to know, because I very briefly touched on it in my own play. But from what I hear, not a good option. But you know, if you're hard pressed, if you're early mid game, could work there. That's basically going to be it currently for the codices. Maybe we'll have some kind of AoE magic codex coming at one point, but it's not here currently. But if that comes, she would be very good for it. And then we have to say, Void Rift, I love her there. However, you can get away with a lot of different kinds of magic DPS. She's a mage, she does magic DPS, I should have said that before. You can get with a lot of different kinds of magic DPS in Void Rift. She's one of the best options. I'd say Boreas is a step above, Comet's a step above. Probably she's right there after that, you know. I'd say she's a mage, so not a marksman like Pelagius. Pelagius would also be a step above, but she's like, I'd say at least a solid S for Void Rift. There's some really nice stages, like there's a Ludwig stage right before the boss where it's really nice to have that execute. There's some really nice stages leading up to Selene, our newest boss that came out, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago. Some of those phases, it's really nice to have an execute when you have all the mobs coming through the middle. I used Vierna there on some takeovers. Overall, she's just a very good hero. But that's not the reason you're pulling on a banner with her potentially with the risk of getting Kai. Let's be honest, it's not. The reason you're doing it is for Sai. So let's go to this annoyingly placed gallery and let's talk about Silas very quickly, and then let's get into the math, which is probably a lot of the reason you guys are still watching the video. Silas is the best hero in the game when you have Vierna. When he gets this partner bind, I'll read it to you right now. Lost Love, during the effect of Shadow Cloak, which is his ultimate. During that effect, Soul Sniping, which is what his whole kit is based around, deals 100% extra damage. That is not how it plays. This to me sounds like if it deals 300% damage, now it deals 400%. I'm just picking random numbers. That's not what it was. It now deals double damage. If you watch the animation, it literally, so if we show this here, this is what it looks like when he's in Shadow Cloak. He triggers it. Now he does these hits. It would be 2. He shoots 2 arrows. It's literally double damage. So he's going to deal all this damage. It's based, counts as basic attacks. He boosts himself up. He gets a damage increase, 80%. He ignores defense entirely. It is outrageous. That's why he's so broken, right? So much of this game is about attack, clearing defense or magic resistance thresholds. He ignores all of it. This also basically allows him, even though he does physical piercing damage, it allows him to hit targets with really high defense that have low magic resistance and need magic damage, because he just ignores everything anyway, so it just doesn't matter. Unless they're straight up immune, he's an absolute beast. You can get this to last for 20 seconds. The 80% boost, you can see coming off 120%, and it does not count as, so now it's 120, now it's 220. No, he has 120% damage per hit. There's an 80% boost. He's ignoring defense, and he's doing it twice as often. It is as simple as that. It's literally, instead of shooting 1 arrow per shot, it's a double arrow. Enough said. It is crazy. He melts. He's amazing in GVG, amazing in Arena. So all that PvP stuff, it is covered. He is amazing in Codex, right? For Styx, ridiculous. For Furious Torrent, required, basically. He's the best Void Rift hero in the entire game. For clearing all those hard late game campaign stages or anything up to that, he's the best in the game. Anytime you need to kill something quickly with single target damage, there is no better option. Gear Raid 1, he's even good, even though you need magic damage, just because he if you build him right, he just deletes everyone, so it's crazy. Gear Raid 2, he can solo it. It's not going to be as easy as a Vierna or Hotset, but he can be the main DPS. For speedruns, I use him and Hex together. It's crazy. For Gear Raid 3, he's the best hero in the entire game, him and Yovar now. It just goes on and on. Gear Raid 5, he's very, very, very good. I used him in a 5-5 takeover just the other day. I know some people have used him on 5-6, aka Gear Dungeon 2. The list goes on and on. I'm going to forget something because he's literally the best at everything. Without these double hits, this is still really strong. But it's not the same as double hits during the ultimate. They also count as basic attacks, so you can run him in Infernal Roar. Because he doesn't need very high attack, you can run him in Ageless Wrath, just get that crit damage up to the moon. And of course, Soulbound Arcana, the most bug set in the game. Perfection for him. Getting a Vierna for your Silas, and I'm trying to sell it because some people should go for it. There's nothing more game-changing than turning him from a very good hero to the most cracked out hero in the game, and someone they only cannot nerf because the community outroar would be ridiculous, but he's so overpowered, it's outrageous. We love it. It's Silas. What more do you need to know? Let's do the math, okay? So you're like, wow, I need a Vierna for my Silas. Should I do it? Let's get the math out. Let's pull up in the sheets. So I'll very quickly show you how I come to these numbers. I'm being very generous here. With a 15x previously, Vierna is of the rare legendary hero class. For that bucket, previously you'd expect a 17 to about 18.2% chance whenever you pull a legendary during that rate up banner that it would be said rare hero. So for example, on the Vierna Silas banner, they both had like an 18.1% chance to be pulled. So you pull a legendary, it's an 18% chance it would be Vierna, right? That was back in the days of a 10x. With the 15x, by that logic, it should be 27%, right? 1.5 times more. That is not how it shakes out at all, especially when there's another hero on the banner. I'd say generously, we can say it's 25. I predict it. We don't have have the numbers anymore, I predict it would be between 22 or 23% chance, actually. But let's go for the generous numbers to give you guys, even in this generous scenario, what you might be up against. So obviously, what's the math here? You do 1 minus the chance to get them, and then 2 the power of the number of legendaries you pull. So very simply put, it's 1 minus 0.75 to the numbers of legendaries pull. To put even more simply, you just do 0.75, raise that to the power, subtract that number from 1. That's enough math for us, right? So basically, if you pull 1, it's 1 minus 0.75, so it's a 25% chance. Obviously, that's the generous rate we've decided. Now what you need to know, now it's 1 minus 0.75 squared. So if you pull 2 legendaries, you have a 43.75% chance that one of those legendaries would be Vierna. And now the numbers start to get a little bit better. If you pull 3, you now finally have over a 50% chance. It'd come in at just about a 58% chance. If you can pull 4 legendaries, you got basically just over a 2 and 3 chance at a 68% chance. And then to get some really good odds, you're gonna have to pull like 6 to have over an 80% chance, aka a 4 and 5 chance to get Vierna. This should put in perspective though. If you only have enough rare summoning crystals and diamonds to be able to pull 1 legendary, in the best case scenario with this generous rate I've listed, you got not even a coin flip. It's half as likely as a coin flip. It's rolling a 4-sided die, or however you want to think of it. You got a 1 in 4 shot to get her. I don't think for most people that's worth it. That's a crazy gamble, especially with a lot of the stuff we have coming up. If you got 2, all right, now you're approaching a coin flip. Now you're approaching a 50-50. So if you have enough to say, I've got like 350 to 400 summons, as long as I hit 1 early, I'll hit a pity, something like that. But a max pity on this would be like over 400 summons, right? It'd be between probably for most people 410 to 440 summons, really 430. There's no way you're going to max pity. It'd be like 410 to 420. If you have 500-600 summons, if you have 500 summons or more, you can give yourself over a 50% chance to get her. If you've got like 500 summons worth of crystals and diamonds. And if you got 4, now you've got that 2 and 3 chance. And this is, I'm saying, enough to guarantee you're getting that many legendaries. You can totally gamble, totally roll the dice, but it's going to take a lot to get her. And as you can see, if we go over here, you could pull 7 legendaries, right? You could pull 7 legendaries. Let's do the math really quickly. You pull 7 legendaries. The chance that you don't get her is going to be 1 minus this number over here, 86.65%. Let's do that. I forgot to do my equal sign. 1 minus that number. There's still going to be a 13.35% chance you don't snag her. So that will happen to some people. They'll be like, I've been saving, I've been waiting for Vierna for my Silas. You could still miss. It's still a gamble. It's still RNG. I would say, if you can guarantee yourself that you can get 2 legendaries, and you really, really are in that situation where you need Silas, it's probably worth it. If you can guarantee you're going to get 3, that's just better than a coin flip. That's worth it. Be prepared that you might not hit it. There's going to be over a 42% chance you're not going to get it, but to me, that's a worthy gamble. This is my opinion. I will say, let's talk about spending group. That's the way we break it down a lot. For free to play, if you can only get 1 legendary, I just think you can't afford that unless you're a real gambling man, woman, or person. If you can do 2, maybe it starts being worth it. It probably depends on where you are in the game. Early, mid-game, even late game, probably not that necessary. If you're end game and you're missing that Vierna to juice up your Silas, it's probably worth it because he is just the end game dominator of all dominators. He opens everything up. If you can get 3, now I think basically everyone should pull. For big spenders, we're talking $250 a month and more. This is the kind of thing you can whale on, or Kraken on if you have to. If you don't yet have a Vierna for your Silas, it's that cracked out what she does. So if you can, guarantee you're going to get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that, then go for it. The last thing I want to say, you can see, why did he include 10 legendaries pulled? If you're going to go ballistic and you're pulling it'd probably be like 14 or 1500 summons, because you're not going to pity every time. I'm sorry if you say you will. You won't. Let's say you do 14 or 1500 summons, you pull 10 legendaries. There's still over a 5% chance you're not going to get her. And so think about it. 1 in 20 times, if someone does that, it's not going to happen for you. So I just want to give you full transparency so you're fully informed with all the information you need. That's what you need to know, guys. All in all, it is that game-changing getting her, but it's going to be a big gamble. And she is rated up with this absolute dog water ass piece of trash over here. Whoop, not Razak. I actually don't dislike Razak at all anymore. But Kai. Ugh. Total puke. If you can convince me he's not, let me know. I hate this guy. Let's end on something much prettier. Here's Vierna. Guys, I gotta hit the road. My girlfriend just got back from walking our puppy. Our 8-year-old puppy. We got to get to Chicago. There's Vierna, the beautiful, beautiful queen. Let's put on her skin. Apparently these are going to be available soon. potentially through like a skin shop that was just announced on Forerunner. Little teaser for you guys there. I can cover the Forerunner update if you want as well. I'm hitting the road. I'm in Fastidious. If you like my stuff, like it. Let me know in the comments if you're going to pull. We're going to do a big pulls party. I'll have the link to that in the top pinned comment. So that'll be tomorrow morning. If you want in on that, just sign up. Then hit me up tomorrow morning. We'll get that going on a nice stream. Share with your mother. And I'll see you real soon when I'm in Chicago.
Fastidious.